Hi, I'm Carlton Coffran, and this is the third of three presentations which myself and Tim Heidel presented at the PES General Meeting in 2016 to kick off the task force on benchmarks for validating emerging power system algorithms. In this video, we're going to talk about the first test case repository of this task force. I propose to be the first task force curator, and the problem that I would like to select is AC optimal power flow. And I promise to be this curator for at least 2016 and 2017. I've been working on the topic of AC optimal power flow for at least 4 years, and since 2014 I have attempted to identify every publicly available AC network dataset. I propose to use the AC-OPF test cases from Nesta as a basis for version 1.0 of the AC-OPF's archive of this task force. In full disclosure, I'm also the curator of Nesta, hence I have a conflict of interest, so I've asked for some peer review to guide the recommendation on this. So what is Nesta? Nesta stands for the NICTA Energy System Test Case Archive. It's a collection of over 100 AC-OPF test cases. This covers about 40 different network designs under different operating points, and it's an aggregation of 4 other archives and at least 11 papers and book examples. It's been curated in the map power format because that appears to be the most standard one for this particular problem domain. Now, on average, the quality of the Nesta cases is about this. It has real-world network data, AC load data, and active power generation limits. However, it has synthesized, using a data-driven method, values for line thermal limits and generator cost functions. And then rules of thumb from power system textbooks were used to generate reactive power limits and line phase angle limits. It's known that all of the test cases in Nesta have feasible solutions, and the optimal solutions of some of the test cases are also known. Nesta has some significant limitations. As you just saw, many of the parameters are still synthetic. It is a class of continuous and academic AC-OPF that doesn't necessarily affect all of the challenging constraints in real life. It has bus shunt transformers and line charging parameters, but it does not have discrete parameters for on-load tap changing transformers, phase shifting transformers, or n-1 contingency. No reactive power capability curves, i.e. D curves, are available. And last but not least, it's curated under a research and development only license and not using Creative Commons by. Now, to give you some third-party review, I asked Paul Chuff to review the test cases and make a recommendation to this task force, and he provided a one-page recommendation which can be found on our website. And one expert said, "I have used the Nesta archive in my research and have found it to be an invaluable resource. I can believe it can form the ideal basis for the present task force mission." To get a second opinion, I also asked Dan Malzahan, who's an expert in AC-OPF test cases as well. And Dan said, along with a one-page report which is also on our website, "It is my recommendation that these test cases be used to populate the task force's initial archive. This recommendation was determined on the basis of 3 main strengths of Nesta. 1, comprehensiveness of the included test cases, the 2, reasonableness of the approach for estimating missing or unreasonable parameter values, and 3, extensiveness of the documentation." So with that, if we move Nesta to the task force primary repository, I will need to seek permission from the majority of copyright holders to release under Creative Commons by. All cases from Nesta that pass this test will be integrated. Now, if there are any other additional revisions that the task force members see fit, we will make those to also improve Nesta and give it the next level of realism. At this point, I asked the members in the room to discuss and present any objections they had to this. No significant objections were raised. So given that, the 2016-2017 timeline is as follows. By the end of September, we will have selected a name for the GitHub organization and set up the static web page which describes what this task force is all about. By October 2016, we will lock in the speakers for the PS 27 panel. This will increase our chances of the panel being selected into the program for PS 2017. By March of the following year, 2017, we hope to have the complete migration of Nesta's AC-OPF test cases made to this task force so that they can be reviewed for several months before the meeting. And then at this meeting next year, we will review the living repository, collect the community's feedback, and plan the second year of task force activities. Well, that's the end of the 3 presentations. I hope you enjoyed this archive of the presentations that were made at PES this year.